I, 28F, have been with Jason, 32M, for almost 2 years now. Our relationship started off amazing. He was attentive, caring, and we seemed to want the same things out of life. But over the last 6 months, things have been different. It started with small comments about my clothes, then who I was texting, and eventually who I was hanging out with. I brushed it off as normal relationship insecurities. Everyone has them, right? But looking back, I should have seen the red flags. Last week, my ex Mike, 29M, texted me out of the blue. Now before anyone jumps to conclusions, Mike and I broke up 4 years ago and have maintained a strictly platonic friendship. We were together for 5 years, so we share a lot of mutual friends. When we broke up, it was amicable, we just wanted different things. He was moving across the country for work, and I wasn't ready to leave my family and career behind. Mike was back in town for just 2 days and wanted to catch up over dinner. He mentioned a group of our mutual friends would be there too. I told Jason about it right away, thinking complete transparency was the best approach. So Mike's back in town and wants to catch up with the old group, I said casually while we were making dinner. I was thinking of going to that Italian place downtown tomorrow night. Jason's whole demeanor changed instantly. His jaw tightened and he put down the knife he was using to chop vegetables. Mike? Your ex Mike? I nodded, already feeling my stomach knot. It's just dinner with the old group. Sarah, Tom, and Ellie will be there too. I don't think that's appropriate, he said flatly. You shouldn't be having dinner with your ex, group or no group. We argued about it for hours. I explained that there was absolutely nothing between Mike and me, that it was completely innocent, and that I had nothing to hide. Jason countered that if I truly respected our relationship, I would decline the invitation. In the end, I decided to go anyway. I felt Jason was being unreasonable, and I didn't want to set a precedent where he could dictate who I could and couldn't see. The dinner itself was completely innocent. We reminisced about old times, caught up on each other's lives, and Mike showed pictures of his fiancée and their new house. I was home by 10:30, but Jason wasn't there. He had texted that he was staying at a friend's place because he needed space. I thought giving him the night to cool off would help, but when he came home the next morning, things only escalated. He was ice cold, refusing to look at me or speak beyond one-word answers. When I finally confronted him about his behavior, what he said left me speechless. If you can go out with your ex, then I can go out with mine too, he said with a smirk. In fact, I spent last night at Amber's place. My heart dropped into my stomach. Amber was Jason's ex from right before we met, and I knew their relationship had been intense. But they'd broken up because she cheated on him, at least that's what he'd told me. What do you mean you were at Amber's? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Exactly what I said, he replied, crossing his arms with an unsettling satisfaction in his eyes. You went out with your ex despite knowing how I felt about it, so I decided to catch up with mine too. Fair is fair. That's completely different. I argued. I was at a restaurant with a group of friends, including Mike. I told you about it beforehand. I came home at a reasonable hour. You spent the night at another woman's house to get back at me? Jason shrugged. Maybe you didn't sleep with Mike last night, or maybe you did. How would I know? You chose him over my feelings. I felt sick. The implication that he might have slept with Amber hung in the air, but he wouldn't confirm or deny it when I asked directly. Instead, he just repeated that I had broken his trust first and that actions have consequences. For the next few days, we barely spoke. He'd come home late, claiming he was working or at the gym, but there was always something off about his explanations. Sometimes I'd catch whiffs of perfume that wasn't mine, or he'd be smiling at his phone and then quickly put it away when he noticed me looking. It was like he wanted me to think something was going on without saying it outright. My friend Sarah, who had been at the dinner with Mike, was outraged when I told her what was happening. That's emotional abuse, plain and simple, she said over coffee. He's punishing you for doing absolutely nothing wrong and making you feel guilty about it. Plus, he's either cheating or pretending to cheat, which is just twisted. Part of me knew she was right, but another part wondered if I had actually crossed a line. Maybe I should have respected Jason's feelings about Mike, even if they seemed irrational to me. Relationships are about compromise, right? When I tried to have a calm discussion with Jason about it, he turned everything back on me. I've always been honest about my boundaries, he said. You knew I wasn't comfortable with you seeing Mike, but you chose to disrespect that. Now you're upset that I've done exactly what you did. I didn't spend the night alone with Mike in his apartment, I countered. That's a false equivalence and you know it. He laughed coldly. So it's only okay for you to cross boundaries, not me? You don't get to make the rules here. Things came to a head when I received a text from an unknown number while Jason and I were having dinner. It was a picture of him and Amber, clearly taken recently, with her kissing his cheek at what looked like a bar. The text simply read, "Thought you should know." I showed him the phone, my hands shaking. "What is this? Are you actually seeing her again?" For the first time, Jason looked caught off guard. He stared at the picture for a moment before his expression hardened again. "Amber and I are just friends, like you and Mike supposedly are. Why are you getting so upset? This is exactly how I felt when you went out with him." That night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, replaying everything in my head. The picture of Jason and Amber kept flashing in my mind, along with his dismissive reaction. When morning came, I made a decision I should have made days ago. I called Amy, Jason's sister. Amy and I had grown close over the past 2 years, and I knew she would be honest with me. When I explained the situation, her sigh spoke volumes. "He did the exact same thing with his ex before Amber," she confessed. "Kelsey went to lunch with a male coworker, and Jason spent the next month making her believe he was cheating as punishment. He's always been like this. He can't handle the women in his life having any connection to other men, even platonic ones." "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, feeling betrayed all over again. "I hoped he changed," Amy replied softly. "He seemed different with you. More mature." "I'm sorry." After talking to Amy, I did something I should have done immediately. I called Amber directly. To my surprise, she agreed to meet. At a coffee shop the next day, she confirmed my worst fears. "Jason reached out to me about a week ago," Amber explained, looking uncomfortable. "He said he wanted closure from our relationship, but it quickly became clear he was using me to make someone jealous. I'm guessing that someone was you." She showed me their text exchanges. Jason had explicitly told her to send that picture to me from a burner number. When she questioned why, he said it was to teach his girlfriend a lesson about loyalty. "I only agreed to meet him that one time because I genuinely thought he wanted closure," Amber continued. "When I realized what was happening, I blocked him. I've been there before with his games, and I'm sorry he dragged you into this." The final piece clicked when Amber revealed something else. She hadn't cheated on Jason. He had been the one who cheated on her. He'd twisted the story completely to make himself the victim. When I confronted Jason with everything I'd learned, his reaction told me all I needed to know. Instead of denying it or apologizing, he became defensive and angry. "You had no right to go behind my back talking to Amber and my sister," he shouted. "This is all your fault anyway. If you had just respected my feelings about Mike in the first place, none of this would have happened." I packed my bags that night. Jason alternated between threatening me and begging me to stay, insisting he would change. But the mask had slipped too far to ever go back. It's been 2 weeks since I moved in with Sarah temporarily. Jason still calls daily, cycling between apologies, accusations, and promises. Yesterday, I finally blocked his number. I've learned the hard way that someone who uses manipulation and fear as weapons doesn't just stop because they say they will. The dinner with Mike wasn't the real issue. It never was. It was just the excuse Jason needed to reveal who he truly is. I only wish I had seen the warning signs sooner, but I'm grateful I saw them before it was too late. If your partner punishes you for normal social interactions and makes you constantly question your own judgment, that's not love. That's control. And no one deserves to live under someone else's control.